Welcome to the meeting of Assembly Committee on Education for the 2023 legislative session. Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Assemblywoman Anderson.
Present.
Assemblyman De Silva.
Here.
Assemblywoman Hanson.
Here.
Assemblywoman Hardy.
Here.
Assemblyman Koenig.
Here.
Assemblywoman LaRue Hatch. Assemblyman MacArthur.
Here.
Assemblywoman Mosca.
Here.
Assemblywoman Taylor.
Present.
Assemblywoman Thomas.
Here.
Assemblywoman Torres.
Here.
Chair Bilbray Axelrod.
I am here, and we are all here, so we have a quorum. Welcome to the audience. We have a packed house here, very excited. A group that I would like to give a shout out to is the Southern Nevada Black Educators Initiative. Thank you guys for being here in our committee. I've heard wonderful things about what you're doing and helping represent that kids get to see teachers who look like them, right? Yeah, I mean, what a concept. So thank you for doing what you're doing, and very impressive. I know as Dr. Pollard is still here. Yes, so excited to have you as well. Okay, with that, we will keep going. If you have a device that makes noise, do me a favor and check it and make sure it's not making noise right now. If you wish to testify, please sign in at the table by the door. And if you would be so kind as to give our secretary your business card, that would be helpful. When testifying, please turn on your microphone and clearly state your name and affiliation or the city in which you reside for the record. Then turn off your microphone each time you are done speaking. We ask that if you do have a handout, if you bring several copies, so kind of like in school, if you have one for yourself, then bring one for everybody else, but not quite that many, but a few. They should be submitted if you have it electronically by 1:30 p.m. yesterday. We expect courtesy and respect in our interactions. We might not always agree with each other, but we can still be nice to each other. Committee members may be using their laptops or other devices to look at different paperwork and stuff that is uploaded to Nellis. Please don't see this as a sign of disrespect. So we are going to start our meeting with our work session, and then we will hear the bills in the following order. Assembly Bill 207, Assembly Bill 212, and Assembly Bill 185. Today, we will conduct a work session to take action on measures the committee has heard in previous meetings. It is not customary for the committee to take testimony or otherwise rehear the bill during a work session. However, I may invite a witness to come forward for clarification or a question during our consideration of a member. We will be hearing 3 bills on our work session today, AB 43, AB 69, and AB 74. We will not be hearing AB 54 on work session at this meeting. We have a little more work to do on that bill, so it will be coming soon. We will start with AB 43.
Thank you, Chair. Alex Drozdoff, Committee Policy Analyst for the record. As a reminder, as nonpartisan staff, I cannot advocate for or against any measure. The first bill on work session is Assembly Bill 43, which revises provisions relating to school emergency operations plans. The committee heard this measure on February 16th, 2023. Assembly Bill 43 revises several dates related to school emergency operations plans. Specifically, each development committee for such plans must provide an updated plan to the Board of Trustees of a school district or to the governing body of a charter school or private school as applicable on or before August 1st of each year. The bill further changes from July 1st to August 15th the date by which these entities must submit the plan to the Division of Emergency Management of the Office of the Military and, for private schools, to local public safety agencies and emergency management organizations. Finally, Chief of the Division of Emergency Management must report certain compliance information to the Superintendent of Public Instruction on or before November 15th, rather than August 15th. No amendments were proposed for this measure. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion on AB 43.
So moved.
Assemblywoman Thompson has made the motion. Do I have a second? Assemblywoman Anderson has made the second to do pass. Any discussions on the motion? Okay, then we will take a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. And I will assign, as is tradition, MacArthur, you can have that floor statement. Did you hear he said, "Thank you, Madam Chair"? He's very excited. Okay, let's see. Ms. Drozdov, would you do our next bill, which is AB 69?
Thank you, Chair. The next bill on work session is Assembly Bill 69, which expands the loan repayment program administered by the Nevada Health Service Corps to include certain providers of behavioral health care. The committee heard this bill on February 16th. Assembly Bill 69 expands the Nevada Health Service Corps loan repayment program to certain behavioral health care providers. The bill outlines the eligibility requirements for such healthcare providers and makes certain expansions to the Nevada Health Service Corps to include certain behavioral health duties. Finally, AB 69 makes an appropriation of $1.5 million to repay loans on behalf of providers of behavioral health care. There was one amendment proposed for this measure. The Washoe Regional Behavioral Health Policy Board proposed an amendment to this bill that makes two changes. First, it expands Section 4 of the bill to cover a person who is licensed as a school professional pursuant to Nevada Revised Statutes 391-294 and 391-296. Next, it expands the public school setting in Section 8 to include pre-kindergarten. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions on AB 69? Yes, Assemblywoman Anderson.
Thank you. I'm looking over my notes, and I just wanted to verify that this is also for charter schools. This does include the public charter schools, even though that is not mentioned in the language, but I just wanted to verify that. If I remember correctly, that was asked, but I just wanted to double check it.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. If memory serves, it does, but I will make sure we get a legal. So give us 1 second. Any other questions while we're waiting for that? Okay. We're used to you. She said, "I'm so sorry." No, not at all. Sure. You do have a question, Assemblyman Hanson.
Actually, I'm just sorry. Who proposed the amendment? I just missed the name of who the amendment came from.
It came from Washoe. Washoe Regional Behavior. Policy Board. Sorry, Policy Board.
And recognizing that legal is, if I may, Chair, recognizing that legal is incredibly overworked currently with trying to get a whole bunch of bills written. I'm comfortable moving forward.
We got it.
Never mind.
They are good.
Alex Drozdov, Committee Policy Analyst for the record. Per legal, Chapter 391 licensees, which are referred to in the proposed amendment, serve in all public schools, both traditional and charter.
Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you for that clarification. Okay, so with that, I will take a motion to amend and do pass. Assemblyman Torres has made the motion for amend and do pass. Do I have a second? I've got Assemblywoman Hardy. As amend and do pass. Second from, is there any discussion on the motion? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. I will assign that to Assemblywoman Torres. Okay, our last bill on work session is AB 74. I almost called you Assemblywoman Drozdov. So, Ms. Drozdov.
Thank you, Chair. The last bill on work session is Assembly Bill 74, which revises provisions relating to higher education. The committee heard this bill on February 23rd. Assembly Bill 74 authorizes the Board of Regents to enter into an agreement with a public or private entity to promote and enhance an educational program at a university and outline certain provisions for such agreements. The bill further determines that any such agreement is subject to certain policies established by the Board of Regents. There are two proposed amendments for this measure. First, the Nevada System of Higher Education submitted an amendment that expands the purpose of these agreements to include promotion and enhancement of student life, in addition to educational programs. It also expands this authorization to all NSHE institutions and expands the criteria that must be included in such agreements. And Vince Saavedra, Executive Secretary Treasurer, Southern Nevada Building Trades Unions, submitted an amendment that expands the criteria that must be incorporated in such agreements to include, but not be limited to, the criteria that for any, the requirement that for any construction completed, the wages paid will be consistent for those required under Nevada Revised Statutes 388020 through 388090. Thank you, Chair.
Members, are there any questions on AB 74? Okay, with that, I will entertain a motion, and the motion is amended to pass. Do I have a motion? Assemblyman De Silva has made the motion. Do I have a second? Assemblywoman Torres has seconded it. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I will say all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. And I will assign that floor statement to Assemblywoman Moscow. With that, we will close work session and move on to our bill hearings today. We will first start with a hearing on Assembly Bill 207. I will now open the hearing on Bill 207. This measure revises provision governing work-based learning programs. To present the measure, we have two of our colleagues, Assemblywoman Gonzalez and Assemblywoman Nguyen. Please go ahead. Assemblyman Nguyen. Did I say Assemblywoman? Okay, it must happen all the time. I apologize. So Assemblyman Nguyen and Assemblywoman Gonzalez, please take a second and blow us all away.
I'll try my best.
I'm going to hold you for one moment. We're having some camera issues. I think the camera just loves our policy and just wants to stay on her. I'm making her blush. So if we could just hold on for one moment. You are adorable. While we're waiting, Assemblyman, you have a co-presenter down in Las Vegas, is that correct? So is the intent that she stands for questions, or she will be presenting as well? She would. Okay, all right, great. We are going to recess for a minute. They're having some technical issues, so we'll take a 1-minute recess. We are back from recess. Okay, please, now I will open the hearing. Please begin when you're ready.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Assemblywoman Cecilia Gonzalez, and I represent beautiful Assembly District 16 in Clark County. And today I'm joined by my colleague, Assemblywoman Yui Wynn, representing District 8 in Clark County. And today, we will be presenting to you Assembly Bill 207, which revises provisions governing work-based learning programs. Work-based learning offers students the opportunity to connect their learning in the classroom with experiences in business and industry. And as such, these programs can be incredibly beneficial for students as they aid them in preparing for both post-secondary education and future careers. As a Forbes publication notes, work-based learning can help students acquire skills to which they may not be exposed to in the traditional classroom setting. Thus, it is important for us that we ensure the opportunities are available for our students. However, there can be some barriers to work-based learning, one of which involves liability insurance. For example, there are several organizations and employers in the state of Nevada that reportedly do not allow career and technical education students to engage in their programs unless they are over the age of 18, in response to liability concerns. At this point, with the chair's permission, I will now turn it over to Assemblywoman Wynn.
Thank you, Assemblywoman Gonzalez, and thanks, Madam Chair Bilbray Axelrod, Vice Chair Taylor, and the most excellent Committee on Education for hearing our AB 207 today. For the record, again, my name is Yui Wynn, and I have the honor to represent Assembly District 8. The real-world problem this bill is trying to solve is to remove barriers and to increase work-based learning opportunities for students. According to the Nevada Department of Education, the definition of work-based learning is an educational strategy that offers students the opportunity to connect classroom learning to authentic business and industry experiences. Work-based learning in Nevada is described as a continuum of experiences that help prepare students for post-secondary education and careers. The goal of work-based learning is to assist students to be college and career ready through authentic connection to business and industry in a field related to the student's career interests. This can be experienced through a variety of ways, including career exploration activity, career preparation activities, career training activities, and things like apprenticeship-ready program that align directly to a registered apprenticeship in a partnership arrangement with the sponsor to ensure direct entry into apprenticeship. Student may begin the program while still in high school with classes at school and job at training off campus. In Clark County, where the school district that Assemblywoman Gonzalez and I have the opportunity to represent in the Assembly, here are some example data for your information. There are about 320,000 students in the district. 66% of the students are enrolled in a career technical education program of study, so that's about approximately 211,000. Students who complete a CTE program in Nevada have a 94% graduation rate on average. Students enrolled in CTE program of study learn industry-specific technical skills and professional skills, including communications, problem solving, teamwork, professionalism, attendance, positive attitude, etc. Students have the opportunity to learn hundreds of industry-recognized credentials prior to graduation, as well as dual credit. However, there are only 49,356 enrollment in high-skill, high-wage, high-demand programs. Barrier, this is less than 25% of the 200,000 that I quoted earlier. So that means 75% of students enrolled in CTE programs of study do not have access to work-based learning opportunities. Our goal is to improve the school district ability to engage employers into work-based learning opportunities by removing barriers. There are several strategies needed to address challenges. AB 207 start with addressing the liability insurance for employers to engage in that process. Now, just to give you some real-life example, I want to bring in our co-presenter from Las Vegas, former Assemblywoman and currently Chief Strategy Officer of Nevada Workforce Connection, is coming to you from Grant Sawyer. Assemblywoman.
Thank you, Assemblywoman Gonzalez and Assemblyman Nguyen. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, as stated, I'm Irene Bustamante Adams, representing Workforce Connections. My part in this presentation is to give real-world examples of the barriers when it comes to liability insurance. So the first example is of our students up at Spring Mountain Youth Camp. They expressed an interest in learning about the construction industry. We did find a prominent employer, a very community-minded, a company who invests their time and their resources here in Southern Nevada to raise their hand and say, we will host those students, we will give that exposure. And so when they did, the liability insurance came into question as one of those challenges. They had concerns about adding those individuals under 18 onto their liability policy. The Department of Labor allows the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act funds to remove this barrier for the employers because we served this population, which, as you know, is located in Spring Mountain Youth Camp. The cohort of students and their experience was so positive that the employer has since had additional cohorts to come through their construction company in order to expose these young adults to this experience. Another example is of employers who are looking for highly skilled workers. Workforce Connections decided to do a pilot to have a reverse job fair to highlight the skill sets by CCSD students, Clark County School District students, called the Student Showcase, which is coming up next Monday on March 20th at 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. We are taking students that are world champions in robotics. These are individuals that have demonstrated critical thinking, problem solving, communication, and teamwork. They are not only local champions, they are state champions, national champions, and international champions. That's how highly skilled these students are from this region. So at this showcase, it's a reverse job fair where the students talk about what they have learned, what they're capable of, and they actually interview the employers. We have more employers than we do students in this pilot right now, but that it is such a demand, and we have juniors and seniors and even sophomores that are participating. The goal is to offer, for the employers to offer them internships, which is a work-based learning experience, or job opportunities for those seniors that are ready to graduate. And so, Madam Chair, members of the committee, I do want to let you know that we know that half of the students that are going to be graduating from the Clark County School District will not go on to a traditional four-year path. And so we need options like this work-based learning to remove the barrier of liability for these employers so that they get the experience before they actually graduate and go on into the workforce. That concludes my presentation. Turn it back over to the sponsors of the bill.
So, Madam Chair and the members of the committee, just want to make sure that we keep in line with the time of the, apologies. Yui Win, representing Assembly District 8. Thank you for a reminder, Madam Chair. Due to time limitation, I want to make sure that we leave it for questions, for the committee to ask questions. So we will stand ready for question as this time.
Thank you. We have a number of questions coming in. I will start with Assemblyman De Silva.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, my distinguished colleagues here for a most excellent presentation in front of the most excellent committee here in the Assembly. So my question is this. It's my understanding now that this is already in place, at least with the Clark County School District. My question to you was, why do you think it's important to actually get this codified?
Cecilia Gonzalez, District 16 for the record. Thank you so much. We actually have Clark County School District in the room if they would like to come up and answer the question. Her face.
She's looking with trepidation.
Patricia Haddad, Director of Government Relations for Clark County School District. That's correct. We do currently have these as best practices that we're currently operating under. And then I think this final section 3, I think in particular, looking at how we are continuing to ensure that the unknown unknowns that might occur from some sort of accident with a student that is engaging in work-based learning continues to be covered. But overall, these are best practices, and recognize that codifying this will also provide latitude to other districts as well. But overall, you're correct. Sure.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Assemblyman Koenig.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I just want to verify that this is enabling language that allows districts to do this if they choose, but it doesn't mandate them to do this. I'm not wanting to create an unfunded mandate here.
Cecilia Gonzalez, District 16 for the record. Thank you so much for your question. Correct. This is if a school district wants to engage, if a business wants to engage. It does not mandate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Assemblywoman Mosca.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for this presentation. As someone who works with young people who've interned, I know the importance. A question was, for the record, the question is, the employer doesn't have to get the insurance if they don't want to. And then the second thing, if you can answer, I know something I hear a lot from constituents is when young people work in family businesses, that this is something, especially in the AA and HPI community, could be helpful. So if you could just talk about that. Thank you.
Yui Wen, Assembly District 8 for the record. Thank you, Assemblywoman Mosca, for the question. I think to answer first on the API front, I know that a lot of the family members that are in my family that own businesses, their kids doesn't want to necessarily follow the footsteps of the parents. So the recruitment and retention for, even though you're holding the parents, threat, if you call it, over them to stay in the family business is definitely difficult for them to, go ahead and continue the family business. So programs like this is definitely very helpful in terms of ensuring that the small businesses, in Clark County and across Nevada have the ability to participate in this program. And in terms going back to, and then just to finish that thought, is that, it will keep these doors open, and the family doesn't have to sell the business because they will have the ability to train young folks that want to go into these certain businesses that are existing. And the first part is that this is actually what we're doing for the school district to actually pay for that policy. So it's not going to be on the business owner. So yes, it will open doors for many small business owner who, have a lot of costs already, and they want to take on the responsibility of teaching these young men and women. However, they just don't have that insurance coverage so that it could help them to make sure that they're in compliance with everything they have.
Okay, we have a number of questions. We are going to go in this order. Assemblywoman Thomas, Assemblywoman Torres, Assemblywoman Taylor, Assemblywoman Anderson. Any questions down here? No? Okay, that's the order, so please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for the presentation. I appreciate my colleagues getting up here and actually presenting on behalf of our students in Nevada. But I actually have a question for former Assemblywoman Bustamante Adams, just for clarification. I want to know if she is actually representing herself, workforce, and along with the school board, as she is now trustee Bustamante Adams, in reference to Section 1, Subsection 3.
Thank you. For the record, Irene Bustamante Adams. I am representing Workforce Connections, which is the local workforce development board here in Southern Nevada. I am not wearing the other hat that you mentioned. There is a representative in Northern Nevada that could speak on their behalf.
Thank you. And just for clarification, do you have Assemblywoman Gonzalez, do you have the representative for the school board here?
You went for the record, Assemblywoman Thomas. We have a representative from the Clark County School District, but no one here representing the actual board.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. And I definitely understand the importance of us having internship programs for our students. But my question is regarding section 1, sub 3, line 10 of the bill. That says that the school district and the governing body of a charter school are immune from civil liability for failure to have that insurance coverage. I'm just wondering what considerations we've had for students that might be injured while they're at this internship, and then I feel like there should be some type of responsibility for those districts to ensure that students have safe environments when they have these working when they are on these work-based learning programs.
Patricia Haddad, for the record, Director of Government Relations for the Clark County School District. Forgive me, I got my training wheels here and notes on how some of these pieces work. So essentially, what we understand is that, there are a multitude of different types of work-based learning opportunities that exist at varying levels of risk. And so recognizing that when, as a school district, we engage and obtain insurance coverage individually through looking specifically at what those partnerships might look like, what are the risks involved there, but then understanding that there are an infinite number of things that can happen or that can go wrong. And so our understanding is that what this would essentially confirm is that, assuming that we've got insurance in place, that we've done our due diligence to ensure that that coverage exists, but something occurs, an incident occurs outside of that insurance coverage that we have gotten, because there was, again, an unanticipated accident that could have occurred. Our understanding is what this affirms is that the lack of coverage or the lack of coverage would not be in and of itself a breach of duty. So basically demonstrating that due diligence. And then my understanding is that this would ensure that we are, as a school district, are covered if, again, there are those unknown unknowns that could come about.
Thank you. I appreciate that response, and I guess I just want some type of confirmation, and I would like to see some language in this piece of legislation that ensures so that because right now it's permissive language that they may purchase and obtain insurance, it's not requiring them. So this would actually allow for school boards to operate and have work-based learning environments without having that insurance coverage. And then if a student gets hurt, like I do have concerns about the safety of that environment. So I just want to make sure that there is some protection for our families and protection for our students in place. I don't know that the language, the bill as is, has the parameters that you just addressed. So if we can just make sure that, before this bill gets to a work session, that that language is added.
Yui Win, Assembly District 8, for the record. Thank you for the suggestion, Assemblywoman Torres. We will make sure that we work on that.
And just I assume that you guys okayed this to go on Nellis. There is a proposed amendment striking that language. Did you want to address that?
Yes, Cecilia Gonzalez, District 16, for the record. We are working with the proposed amendment sponsor on that and the district, and so we should have that figured out if and when it will be up for a work session. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to my colleagues for the presentation. Actually, that was my question regarding the amendment, so we can go ahead from here. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Assemblywoman Anderson to play cleanup.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for bringing this forward. There's some confusion that I have that's kind of similar to my peer down at the other end. I just want to make sure I'm understanding the bill correctly. That's all it is. So, making sure that this is open for companies to be able to offer internships for our students basically is first. And the second thing has to do with the insurance. And making sure that that insurance is in place, but we're not charging the student. Is that what I'm understanding? Seeing your head shake, yes. So what I just want to verify, though, is this is not going to create a situation where there's an intern who gets hurt on the job and then has to go. Where do they go? Is that where they utilize the school district's insurance? Is it their own insurance? I'm looking for the process, I guess, of, because unfortunately, sometimes workplace accidents do happen. And sometimes our students might be working in an industry or wanting to learn more from an industry that could sometimes become dangerous. So who do they turn to for that help, and who does that family turn to? Who would be liable if something were to happen?
I'm going to let you guys off the hook for 1 second because we do have some clarification from legal. So Ms. Drozdoff, at the risk of it staying on you and you getting embarrassed, would you go ahead?
Thank you, Alex Drozdoff, Committee Policy Analyst for the record. So according to legal, Section 1, Subsection 3 does not immunize the Board of Trustees or governing body or employer participating in workplace learning program from liability for any actual injury that occurs to a pupil participating in such a program. Instead, it only immunizes them from a separate claim for failing to obtain insurance, either at all or in a specific amount. Thank you.
I just want to make sure if we still are able, if somebody were to be hurt on the job, how will that be handled?
Madam Chair, if I may, Yui Nguyen for the record, Assembly District 8. I think our intent here on this bill is to ensure that the coverage is purchased, but I think the liability piece is still going to be on the employers who supervise, because they're actually, the minute they are in the workplace of these small businesses or these employers, they are, under the supervision of that particular employer. So the insurance coverage will, and I can speak it from my hat as a small business owner, is that we are able to have the coverage. So should an incident happen while they're at the job site, we can, file a claim because there is coverage versus when there isn't coverage. So this bill, its intent is to ensure that we look out for our young folks and have that liability insurance in place so that they can be open to learning and not worry about anything else, as well as the employers having that risk mitigated by having this policy in place.
So thank you for that clarification. I think somebody on our committee actually just brought it up perfectly, that under Section 1.1, if you're okay, Assemblymember Torres, for me to bring that up. Okay, Assemblymember Torres is the one that brought this up. Under Section 1.1, line 5, the word may becomes permissive. But if that could be must or shall, it becomes a much stronger argument, and it's something I think to consider, if I could bring that forward. And thank you, Assemblymember Torres, for saying that in the message.
Assemblywoman Hanson.
Okay, let's just complicate this more. The way I was reading that, that my colleague just read in section 1.1, the may, in my mind, and this is where we'll need some clarification from legal, is that a school district, has been approved by the school board to offer. So if they, I was just wondering if it was saying, if districts want to do this, we say may because they might not do it. But if they do it, then it shall. So I'm just saying, we're kind of saying, according to Clark County School District, they do this, this would codify it so that other districts could do it. But because it's could, we say may. But if we said should do it, we'd have to say shall. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickle peppers. So I'm just wondering if legal, at some point in time when they're not buried in the basement with bill drafts, they could clarify that for us.
Our legal is typing. Ms. Drozdov.
Thank you, Chair. So, per legal, as the bill is currently written, it authorizes but does not require a school district to insure against their potential liabilities from a work-based learning program.
Thank you for that, and I'm sure the bill sponsors will work with our committee to get that language tightened up. Thank you very much. Any other questions, members? Oh. Assemblywoman LaRue Hatch.
Thank you for your indulgence, Chair. I realize that we've heard from Clark County School District, but I'm not sure what's going on in the other school districts. So my question is, are the other districts engaging in this process? Do they already have liability insurance? Is this something that's already happening and you're just codifying, or is this hoping to inspire other districts to follow suit?
Thank you, Assemblywoman, for the question. Again, you were going for the record, Assembly District 8. You are correct. In terms of other district, we haven't really looked into it from a standpoint of the requirement, but in terms of best practice, those things have been done. So in my brief conversation with Washoe, that they are already doing that as a practice. So therefore, looking into two of our biggest districts, we're just looking for it to be easier and codify it so that it's no longer just a best practice, but it's something that we are shall require to do versus, just folks passing on the knowledge from one another. I hope that's answered your questions.
Okay, and with that, we will have you guys sit back, and I will open up testimony for folks in the room who would like to testify. Just wanted to remind you that testimony can be provided in person here in Carson City, via video conference in Las Vegas, or over the phone. Further instructions for providing testimony on a bill can be found on our agenda. Please keep your remarks to the point and avoid repetition, and state and spell your name for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Trevor Parrish. That's TrevorParrish, and I'm the Manager of Government Affairs at the Vegas Chamber. The Chamber is in support of AB 207 as introduced, as work-based learning programs are an essential service to students within our education system. The state has the opportunity to support institutions that provide these services by enabling them to take the necessary steps in order to continue offering these programs. Additionally, work-based learning initiatives are vital to student achievement and success within Nevada's workforce. Again, Madam Chair and members of the committee, thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. Go ahead and fill in those seats. If there's anybody else who wants to take that third seat, okay, perfect, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Nicole Rourke, representing the City of Henderson, and also myself, actually. In a former life, I worked with a number of professional educators that really worked with businesses to provide work-based learning experiences for their kids, especially in high school and even down in middle school, because as our kids start to explore things, they need to have real-world experiences. My son right now is in college trying to figure out his way because he still isn't sure of his major halfway through his freshman year, and I think these work-based learning experiences help them either rule things out or find their passion. And so quality education is a pillar for the City of Henderson, and we believe this is an important part of that education. So thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Glenn Levitt. I'm the Government Affairs Director for the Nevada Contractors Association. We represent over 450 contractors, subcontractors, and affiliated industry professionals, primarily in Southern Nevada. The Nevada Contractors Association is in support of AB 207 and its further encouragement of work-based programs for our amazing industry. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to see you, former Assemblyman Levitt. Now we'll go down to Las Vegas. See 3 people at the table. Please go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you so much, Chairwoman Bilbray Axelrod and committee members. My name is Eric Jeng, ERICJENG. I'm the Acting Executive Director for One API Nevada, here in support of AB 207. For the growing API population here, the community right now is 392,000 people, comprises 12% of the 12.5% of the state total population. Out of that, about 6.9% of them are students are represented in our entire school district. 7.7% of A and HPI students here in Clark County School District. On the other hand, for the small business data, I know Assemblywoman Moscott mentioned, right now there's 36,000 Asian and Pacific Islander-owned small businesses here in the state, out of almost 297,000 firms. So it's on track 12% of these small businesses. So we believe this proposal will benefit our workforce development for young adults by removing barriers for small businesses and nonprofits to participate in these programs, and removing the cost of purchasing liability insurances for small businesses will increase the number of the participation for the work-based learning program. We'll be able to provide students with more opportunity and leadership skills. So this is a great learning experience, and we're here to support. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next in Las Vegas.
Hello, my name is Mia Nakamura, MIANAKAMURA, and I am a current student at UNLV studying journalism. Often in journalism internships, we are unable to do all duties of the job because of liability concerns for the news stations that we work for. This is a critical on-the-job training that Nevada students are unable to gain because of issues with liability insurance and internships. By passing AB 207, we would be able to allow more students to intern in high school and allow students to be able to do more on-the-job learning in the future. We urge you to support AB 207.
Thank you. Next person in Las Vegas.
Hello, my name is Amon Tedros, AMANTEDROS, and I graduated last year from Spring Valley High School. During my senior year of high school, I was able to work at a local nonprofit here in Las Vegas to develop practical work skills because the organization was able to cover the liability insurance needed to work with minor students. Not every student gets the opportunity to participate in work study or pursue internships opportunities with small businesses in Nevada. Because many can't cover the liability insurance or ask students to cover this cost, by passing AB 207, we would be able to make internships more accessible to all students. We urge you to support AB 207. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you all for being there in Las Vegas. It really makes a difference when we hear the real life stories from young people that it's affecting. I see somebody else. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Hugh Lee, Hieu, last name Le, constituent for the fantastic Assembly District 34 and Senate District 6. As a successful, struggling college student, I support the bill. Thanks.
Thank you, my constituent. Appreciate it. Anyone else in Vegas? Okay. Thank you again for coming out. BPS, do we have anyone on the line in support?
Callers, if you would like to testify in support of AB 207, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Good afternoon, members of the Nevada State Legislative Assembly. My name is Samuel Huang, Hwang, and I am currently a senior attending Ed W. Clark High School in Las Vegas, Nevada. During the summer of 2022, I had the wonderful opportunity to be a paid intern through the Clark County Summer Business Institute. And during my time, I got to learn what it was like to be part of the workplace and how to apply the skills I learned from school in a positive way through my organization's many community initiatives. I'm also very thankful for the people whom I met during the experience, for they taught and reminded me of some very important lessons when it came to respect, composure, and accountability, which I'm still using today to have a positive influence on my community. As the Nevada State Officer of Future Business Leaders of America, a national career technical student organization that promotes leadership and career development opportunities, I support career technical education and opportunities that allow students to gain work-based knowledge and apply it to their current studies and future careers. And as a student who believes fully in the process of learning, I support the proposed amendments because work-based learning programs help students develop values like accountability, hard work, discipline, and time management that will serve them well, no matter what they may choose to do later in life. Any measures that allow students to gain these important life lessons are worthy of consideration. In the interest of developing more well-rounded students who have the skills to become our future leaders, please give the proposed amendments your utmost consideration and support. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for calling in. BPS, is there anyone else on the phone lines in support?
Caller, please press *6 to unmute your microphone. Chair, there are no more callers choosing to testify in support at this time.
Thank you, BPS. So with that, I will close support and move on to opposition. Do we have any opposition here in Carson City? Not seeing anyone coming to the table. What about in Las Vegas? Not seeing anybody walk up. BPS, is there anyone on the line in opposition?
Callers, if you would like to testify in opposition to AB 207, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue.
Hello, my name is Hang Wong, Hangwong. I'm the owner of Matcha Cafe Michael, Las Vegas. Our business is located in Chinatown. As a small business owner, I understand the risk business takes on when participating in work-study programs or internship programs in Nevada. Liability insurance is a prohibitive cost for many small businesses in order to have minor staff or interns. AB 207 will help this issue and make it easier for businesses to work with students. We urge you to pass AB 207.
Thank you very much. And just for clarification, we will put you in the support column. BPS, is there anyone else on the phone line?
Chair, there are no more callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you. And with that, we will close testimony in opposition and move to neutral. Is there anyone in the room that would like to offer neutral testimony on AB 207? Anyone in Las Vegas? Oh, I see someone approaching. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Lisa Levine, for the record, Executive Director of the Governor's Office of Workforce Innovation. Certainly testifying in neutral, but we at GOIN recognize that this bill would have a positive impact on creating and increasing access to career opportunities for Nevada's youth, which ultimately strengthen Nevada's workforce development system. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you. Anyone else down in Las Vegas? Nope. BPS, is there anyone on the phone line who would like to testify in neutral?
If you would like to testify in neutral for AB 207, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue.
I feel like we need the Jeopardy theme, right? Or something, right?
Hello, my name is Angelica Villarta, District 14. I am a parent of 3 and a small business owner. I apologize for the technical difficulty. I was trying to push it for in support of AB 207. So According to our state dropout rate at 19%, there was research done that provided some insight as to why students of color are more likely to drop out than their white peers. And they cited that as majority of teachers in public schools are white, students of color simply do not see themselves in their teachers. In addition, many families belonging to ethnic minorities are low to middle income households, making it difficult for the students to get access to technologies and resources necessary to succeed academically. Work-based learning gives students an opportunity to find the motivation for key developmental milestones important for that workforce development, integration, and support resources that also encourage and support their desire to graduate. So in addition, this path of work-based learning will help our state's economic development as more students may find and discover that they have talent and passion in specific industries that are experiencing shortages of talent and skills, and hopefully leading students to want to pursue those higher education or fulfill those gaps in those workforce shortages. I believe that AB 207 will help remove a barrier that many smaller organizations focused on workforce development or integration, including our nonprofit organizations, so that they can actually be able to provide the support and resources our students will need access to in order to further their engagement in higher education, in continuous education, and in workforce development. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony, and we will put that in the support column. BPS, is there anyone else on the line in anything? We have gremlins on technology today.
Callers, if you wish to provide testimony, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there is no more callers looking to testify at this time.
Thank you, BPS. I will invite the bill sponsors back up for some final remarks.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Cecilia Gonzalez, representing Assembly District 16 in beautiful Clark County. And in closing, I want to thank you all for allowing us the opportunity to have a conversation on AB 207. We definitely recognize the concerns of this committee and others may have regarding some of the language, and so we will be working on that, and we recognize that. Thank you so much for your time, and we will be in touch.
Yui Wen, Assembly District 8 for the record. Ditto.
Thank you. And with that, I will close the hearing on AB 207, and I will now open the hearing on AB 212. This measure establishes provisions governing student transcripts. To present this measure, we have our own Assemblywoman Moscow and, my glasses. Renee Davis, which is Interim Vice Chancellor for Academic, Student Affairs, and Community Colleges with the Nevada System of Higher Education. Go ahead when ready.
Okay, thank you, Chair Bilbray Axelrod, Vice Chair Taylor, and the most excellent Committee on Education. I am Assemblywoman Erica Mosca, representing District 14 for the record. Today, I will share a summary and purpose of the why behind this bill. Then I'll pass it over to my colleague, Renee Davis from the Nevada System of Higher Education, who will share the local context. And at the end, I'll share the bill details. At this time, before we even start, I want to thank, and excuse my eyeliner, sorry. I want to thank the Board of Regents that this past Thursday passed a policy that actually addresses this. However, we are still going forward with the bill just to make sure if the Regents ever changed, that it's in state statute. So what is the problem we're trying to solve? Currently, or historically, not currently since Thursday, but historically in NCHE, if you owed over $100, you could not access your transcript. So if you were a young person and you wanted to transfer to another university, or if you, school, college, or university, or if you wanted to get your transcript to get a job, the fee disallows NCHE from allowing you to access that transcript. And for the past 15 years of doing the work in the community, we've actually seen many, many times where young people are not able to transfer because of this transcript, and we, as a nonprofit organization, had paid for it. And so that this bill really comes from my personal experience. So the solution to this problem really is to allow a mechanism for young people to access their transcript but still pay the fee. We understand that if we don't put that in there, it could then cause fees to be higher for other students, and we don't want that unintended consequence. And a good question could be, well, if you don't make them pay the fee, how are you going to ever remit the payments back? And Truckee Meadows Community College had a great example. They submitted a letter in the exhibits, and what they do is they do give the young person the transcript, but they make them sign up for a payment plan without having to make the first payment. So there is an example that we already have that allows this to happen. The also awesome part about it is nationally this is a trend for higher education. So the Secretary of Education recently released that this is part of his main goals. And there are 8 states that already have this policy. So there are hundreds of institutions that have already figured out how to give the transcripts, but to make sure that the fees can also be captured. And finally, on the record, I just really want to share that this legislation comes from a practitioner lens, had many, many stakeholder meetings, including almost every NSHE institution, with NSHE, with students, with parents, with stakeholder groups. And so originally it was just my bill as a legislator, but in doing the conversations, I wanted to partner with NSHE on it to make sure that it could be successful. And so we're all excited again that this term of Regents did pass it, but we have it for you today just to make sure that will codify into our state law. So at this time, I will transition to the awesome Renee Davis, and then after that, I'll go through the bill.
Thank you. For the record, Renee Davis, Interim Vice Chancellor for Academic and Student Affairs and Community Colleges. Thank you, Assemblywoman Mosca, for inviting NSHE to help introduce this bill, and thank you, Chair Bilbray Axelrod, for the time on the committee's agenda to discuss this important topic. I began my career in higher education and student affairs, so this is a topic I'm passionate about. As Assemblywoman Mosca mentioned, the topic of transcript access has been receiving attention at the national level over the past year or so. The timing of discussions across the NSHE system was influenced by this national conversation, particularly by the release in April of 2022 of a joint statement from the National Association of College and University Business Officers and the American Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Officers, 2 of our professional organizations. By fall 2022, the system had undertaken this conversation in earnest, and we began planning for a joint meeting between our campus, student affairs, and business officers. Ultimately, the joint business officers and student affairs meeting occurred in early February 2023. In the lead up to that meeting, we learned about Assemblywoman Mosca's bill draft request, and this knowledge really helped advance the internal conversations. These conversations have not been easy, as we had to figure out a way to balance the needs of students to have access to their transcripts with the needs of institutions to collect the fees owed, so that costs would not be passed on to other students. During that February meeting, a compromise was reached whereby students with delinquent account balances would be given access to their transcripts after signing up for a payment plan. This would allow students to move forward with their desired educational or employment goals while giving institutions the opportunity to counsel students on their payment obligations and the consequences of not meeting them. I'm happy to report that last week this policy revision was approved by the Board of Regents. I'm sure the committee members are wondering how many students are impacted by the change in board policy and by AB 212. According to data collected in cooperation with our institutions, over the last week or two, there are approximately 26,000, and this is current and former students, who have a transcript hold. As of that data collection, the median debt owed by students with a transcript hold range from $426 at TMCC to $1,152 at UNLV. It's also important to note that students from historically minoritized backgrounds make up the majority of students impacted by transcript holds. These and other data points are available as an exhibit on Nellis. Thank you.
Assemblywoman Mosca, for the record, thank you, Ms. Davis, and the Chairwoman. I'm now going to go over the bill, and then I'll be ready for questions. So if we look at the bill on page 2, Section 1A establishes that a current or former student can access their unofficial transcript at any time. Section 1B establishes that a current or former student can access their official transcript at any time. Section 1C establishes that NCHE cannot charge a fee higher fee to access official or unofficial transcripts since they owed before. And Section 2 really is just definition of these items. So again, I could have made a bill that made our body have a policy, but I thought it would be better for young people and students if we work directly with entry in something that could work and not have unintended consequences. And with that, would love to answer questions.
Thank you. Just by show of hands, how many questions? I see Assemblywoman Hardy is raising her hand. Anyone else? Okay, Assemblywoman Hardy, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for this bill. I had a nice conversation with Assemblywoman Mosca prior to the hearing. And yeah, this is definitely something that students face, and it prohibits them from going to another school or moving on and trying to do other things when they can't get this transcript. So I'm pleased to hear that the Board of Regents have adopted this. And I was just curious, in our conversation we talked about, and you both mentioned payment plans, because we want students to be responsible and pay their debts that they owe and learn that importance. Did the Board of Regents discuss what they would do here in Nevada as far as some of those plans? Are they able to do that currently? Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblywoman, for that great question, and I'll answer very briefly and then give it to our expert. But one thing, too, we didn't add it in the bill specifically, so thank you for asking. Just because of the 7 different institutions, we wanted them to allow a way that worked for their school, but we'll defer to my colleague.
Thank you, Renee Davis, for the record. In terms of the specifics of the payment plans, that is not part of board policy. There's broad authority for the institutions to establish those, and we think that's really important because each student is going to have a unique circumstance and also, a different amount due. So, larger amounts might require a longer period of more payments, that type of thing. So we wanted to leave it broad. And as Assemblywoman Mosca pointed out, with the TMCC example, our institutions already have this tool in place. It's just that it wasn't required to be used for transcript access.
We have a question from Assemblywoman Hanson.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for this bill, and so impressed with the legislation you've been working on, so appreciate you being here. It's been a long time since I was in college, so I want to clarify a few things. In Section 1, 2A, when we start to define what is the debt, and let me clarify this first. I'm going to complicate things for our thought processes. It's like, okay, kids pay tuition to go to college, and then we're holding their transcript hostage. It's kind of their property. So I'm doing this whole kind of who owns the transcript, right? In my mind, the student owns the transcript. So I want to go back to the process. If I recall, when you go each semester or even quarter and you sign up for your class, you can't move forward, at least where I was familiar with school, you couldn't move forward till you had things paid. So is this occurring in that last semester when they're trying to move on or they're leaving the school and it's just that last segment? Do I have it understood right, that your debt doesn't just cascade semester after semester?
Thank you for that question, Assemblywoman. That's a great question. I'm going to let my colleague answer that in a second. But all I would add is here, what we really cared about is where we mostly see it, at least on the practitioner side, is that even if you're not at the end of your experience, but let's say you went to an institution up north and you needed to go home down south or opposite, if you want to transfer even within NCHE, you cannot if you owe $150 because you can't access your transcript. So we were thinking about those instances, and then like you said, at the the end, let's say you got everything done and you wanted to become a teacher, and I had asked the Nevada Department of Education for their numbers on this, and they had shared they don't track it, but we know it happens. You could try to become a teacher, but if you owe $500, you actually cannot get licensed because you don't have an official transcript, which disallows you to become a teacher. So we're also trying to help those type of instances.
Renee Davis for the record. So you're correct that students who enroll in a semester can't continue if they haven't paid their fees or financial aid hasn't paid their fees. But what sometimes happens is things happen after the beginning of the semester to create a balance due. A student might add a class after the fact, after they're already fully enrolled. Or they might actually withdraw and not be entitled to all their financial aid, so there might be a debt owed to the federal government. So there are various circumstances that may impact students through a semester, and it could be, they had 8 or 7 wonderful semesters, everything was fine, and then they had one, like you said, at the end. Or it could happen really at any point in their educational career, but so does that answer your question? I'm sorry.
Can I follow up just real quick? It did. Thank you. And I love the idea that the student has to be responsible. I understand things happen and it gets hard. And so I love that there's this accountability, because after all, we're going to start being in the real world and we got to pay our bills. And so that absolutely has to be attached. I love this payment program. Enroll them in, let them have the transcript, and they're committed to that. So thank you for that. And I may or may not have known a student who had parking tickets that was kind of causing a program, but I think I had a way of having him be accountable to me. So thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we will have you guys sit back. I know we have a lot of people who went to testify in support of this bill, and as I've said, we love when young people come and support a bill. Or even oppose it, but we love to see you guys involved. But if someone says exactly what you said, feel free to say ditto. She said exactly what I wanted to say, just because we do have one more bill to hear. But we do want to hear from you, so if you would like to testify in support of this bill, please fill up those seats.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the Assembly Education Committee. For the record, my name is Jesse Cruz, Jessecruz. I am a community advocate and current student at the College of Southern Nevada, and I've arrived from Las Vegas to testify in support of Assembly Bill 212. As a first-generation low-income college student, navigating the higher education system has been nothing short of exhausting, especially as someone who relies solely on scholarship funds and grant awards to pay for my education. For myself and countless others, having any sort of late or past due fee show up on my account and being unable to access my transcripts for scholarships, grants, or programs fills me with dread, as there is typically very little we as students can do should a disruption to the NSHE system occur. Couple this with the long system updates that, in my case, my CSN site takes, and other students like myself miss scholarship deadlines, grant reports, and potentially job opportunities, all because it takes, on average, 2 to 3 weeks to update our student accounts and portals. It's time that we renew the way in which we view post-secondary education, from a system that penalizes students historically entering these spaces at every disadvantage to one where students are afforded the grace to live and learn. This bill would do just that for generations in our state of Nevada. My sincere hope is that stories like mine and my fellow peers don't fall on deaf ears, and that the members of this committee vote in favor of Assembly Bill 212. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, Chair Bilberry Axelrod and committee members. My name is Katie Brandon, Katiebrandon, and I'm an intern at the Fines and Fees Justice Center, working to bring a public health perspective to fines and fees. I'm also a current graduate student at UNR, so I'd like to personally thank Assemblywoman Mosca for bringing this bill forward. At the Fines and Fees Justice Center, we focus on fines and fees in the criminal legal system, but recognize that there are concerning consequences for not paying fees in many sectors of government. You've heard many of the reasons why accessing your transcript is important, and all of them enable Nevadans to pursue career opportunities to become financially stable. Unfortunately, financial stability is not usually experienced by current college or graduate students. 28% of UNR students experience food insecurity, and nationwide, about 20% of college students experience housing instability. Balancing these challenges with paying tuition and fees, which amount to thousands of dollars each semester, is incredibly challenging. This bill will help students continue to further their careers by enabling them to access their transcripts in a timely manner, even as they experience the financial instability that is an unfortunate part of the college experience. We are in support. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Miriam Gomez, Miriam-Gomez, just for the record. I am a current student at Nevada State College, and I come from Las Vegas in support of AB 212. So I would like to also ditto what everyone else has said, but as a first-generation college student, I've always had to navigate through the higher education system alone. So throughout my college experience, whether it be for a scholarship opportunity or internship, I've had to advocate for myself, and one of the barriers I have frequently encountered was the access to my transcript for those opportunities I just mentioned. So basic access to our transcript is essential regardless of how much we owe to our institutions, and I would like to thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. I'm Darian Pollard, president of what is currently known as Nevada State College. It's an honor to be here today. Madam Chair, I'd just like to offer just a few comments in support of this particular piece of legislation and two factors, one on product and one on process. This particular piece of legislation, I believe, recognizes that the greatest barrier to higher education is not potential or promise, but poverty. And as a result of that, the idea of recognizing that this particular issue of access to transcripts is one that is particularly important for students in terms of continuing their education, but also moving into the workforce is important. I think this legislation also recognizes the intersection, as someone mentioned earlier, of grace and accountability. So I'm a huge supporter of it. Secondly, I would be remiss if I did not also congratulate Assemblymember Mosca and how she managed this particular piece of legislation. She may be a freshman legislator, but she is not a neophyte in policy development. And I want to say that because she thoughtfully gathered input. She modified this language based on the feedback that she received, but very clear about what she wanted to accomplish. And she crafted language that is responsive to the needs of students and also to that of higher educational organizations. So, Madam Chair, it's a pleasure for me to offer those words of support and look forward to the passage of this legislation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Annette Magnus, and I'm the Executive Director of Battleborn Progress. We fully support AB 212 and thank the sponsors for bringing this important legislation forward. No financial hardship or low-level fine should prohibit any student from pursuing an education or having access to their educational records. We have seen these fines and fees prohibit so many of our students across Nevada. As someone who went to UNLV, I saw this issue firsthand. This bill will remove the barrier to access our higher education system, and we urge the committee to support this critical legislation. Better access to higher education is the actual Nevada way. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Bilberry Axelrod and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Nick Schneider, Policy Analyst for the Vegas Chamber. We're in support of AB 212 as recent entry policy precluded students and former students from accessing their transcripts should they have delinquent accounts with a sum owed of over $100, which creates a barrier for our students and graduates alike from accessing competitive jobs and internships that could aid in paying that delinquent bill upon hiring. The Vegas Chamber believes that by removing this barrier, as AB 212 aims to do, we provide a more level playing field and provide opportunities for economically disadvantaged students to better compete in the job market, which in turn would provide higher salaries to pay off those delinquent bills. We urge your support of 212. Thank you.
Kent Irvin, K-E-N-T-E-R-V-I-N, for the Nevada Faculty Alliance, the Independent Association of Professional Employees at the Nevada System of Higher Education. We work to empower our members to be fully engaged in our mission to help students succeed. We are in full support of AB 212 and thank Assemblywoman Mosca for bringing the bill. The students are more eloquent than I am, so listen to them.
Hi, everyone. Kathy Montenegro, Cathymontenegro. I am a kindergarten teacher in Las Vegas. I get to teach in my community, and oftentimes I'm the first person that families go to help them navigate education. Sometimes they come to me for kindergarten problems, and sometimes they ask me college issues that their older one is having. When I went to college, I was on a scholarship and I had grants, and I was really in over my head. My father passed away when I was 15, and I was helping pay the bills. And so when you're paying the bills and you're also having to put gas in your car, having to pay the car payment so that you can get to work, so that you can pay for the books, the fees, and all of that, it's a hard time. And so when you get to the end of your education, there's a lot of fees that are kind of last minute. You have to take tests before you can do your student teaching. There's just a laundry list of things. And what it boils down to is that we don't feel like we belong, because once we're there, we have the academics. I was doing great academically, but there were so many things that I didn't account for that I started questioning, do I belong here? Should I be here? And to take just one thing off of our plate, I saw my friends just saying, you know, I just have to work, and then I'll come back, and they never did. And so I was able to keep going, and now I'm able to work in my community and help parents and tell them, just make sure they keep going. So I really appreciate a bill like this that would just make us feel like we belong. Thank you.
I'm going to take you three, and then I'm going to go down to Vegas because there's a lot of people in Vegas. And I will just remind people, we have yet to even make it to Vegas or the callers. So I we totally love hearing your stories. But if we have another bill to hear too.
Hello, thank you so much for having me today. My name is Yvette Aguirre, Ivetteaguirre. I am a sophomore at UNLV, and I would like to testify in regards to Bill 212, because mainly for the fact that I feel like this is a very productive way of being able to teach our students transferable skills. When you go to college, like many of our council members have said, you have to pay bills, you have to learn how to live your life and how to be an adult. And I feel like being able to sign up for these payment plans is a perfect way to teach our students how to do that and do it responsibly and effectively, rather than basically cutting them off from being able to pursue a career or pursue an education elsewhere because of a certain fine. So being able to give them the stepping stone to learn how to navigate, learn how to handle their finances, while also empowering them to continue their journeys here in the workforce in Nevada, I feel like is very, very important. So thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the committee, I'm Constance Brooks, representing the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Happy to follow one of our illustrious students in her eloquent testimony. I just wanted to say thank you to Assemblywoman Mosca for this important legislation. At UNLV, over half of our undergraduate students are first-generation students, many of which come from low-income or low socioeconomic backgrounds who struggle with college affordability. And the fact that we have an access mission as an urban institution, we're quite proud of the fact that more than half of our undergraduate students are first-generation students. And so we say thank you for this legislation. We also appreciate the Board of Regents stepping up to codify within INCHE policy that we would be able to provide this opportunity to our students. Thank you very much.
Hello, Assembly. Thank you for hearing my name is Johnny Dominguez, Johnnny, Dominguez. I'm the Executive Director of Leadership Training, but as a college advocate, college access, college completion advocate, I've worked in the last 10 years in admissions, advising, completion, college counseling, and been a mission to make sure we keep our most intelligent and wonderful students here in this state. I'm completely supportive of AB 212, with the sake that we want to make sure that we keep our students here. And I can't tell you how often have I had worked with students who, let's say, would have a loan, or let's say would have outstanding balances at their institution, which would be around an average $600 to $800 that they can essentially transfer only on the sole basis that they owe that amount of money. So they fall victim to a lot of these privatized institutions that offer for-profit institutions that essentially offer them loans as an alternative. And so thus they continue the cycle of overall with debt. So one thing I'm really supportive of is just making sure that we solidify this process to make sure that our students stay here and we don't use this type of, essentially this, we would want to promote accountability, but we don't also want to make sure that we detriment them from having education here in this state. Thank you.
All right, we'll do one more here in Carson.
Thank you so much, Assemblywoman. My name is Lilith Barron. I'm with the ACLU of Nevada. We would like to thank the sponsor for the brilliant way that she carried this bill and worked with everyone, and ditto. Thank you.
Good job. Okay, we are in Vegas, and I know I see 3 people. Are there, just if you could stand up if you are in support of this bill in the room, so we could just get an idea of that. Oh, look at that. That speaks volumes. Okay, so we'll go on to the folks sitting down.
Good afternoon, Assembly Committee of Education. My name is Diana Burnaby. I'm a high school junior in the Clark County School District and a Youth Power Project member with Make the Road Nevada. While many of my peers are on spring break, I am here today to show my support for Assembly Bill 212. Currently, Nevada college students face a huge obstacle in accessing both their official and unofficial school transcripts if they have unpaid fees, creating a significant financial impediment for those who may already be struggling to make ends meet. This impediment further restricts their ability to seek employment or transfer to other academic institutions, thereby hindering their academic and professional progress. As an aspiring college student, I believe it is crucial for me to speak upon this matter that not only affects current Nevada college students, but also those who, like myself, hope to pursue higher education in the future. AB 2102 would mandate that the NC Regents adopt a policy enabling students to access their transcripts regardless of any outstanding fees, which is why I support this bill. By passing AB 212, we can ensure that financial burdens do not become obstacles for students in their academic pursuits. As a student and a young person invested in the future of education and student success, I urge that the Assembly Committee on Education pass AB 2102. By taking this important step towards, we create a more equitable and accessible education system for all Nevada students. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to take the 2 folks sitting next to you, and then if you are in the room down in Las Vegas and you want to speak in support of this bill, I'm just going to ask for time's sake if you could come to the microphone, tell us your name, and tell us that you support the bill, and we'll make sure we get that on the record. We just do have another bill to hear as well, and we have State of the Judiciary tonight. So you 2 can go ahead and testify, but if you're in the room and you want to testify, just come to the table, say your name, and say you support. Thank you.
Dear Assembly Committee of Education, I am Flor Diaz, Flordiaz, a member of the Youth Power Project at Make the Road Nevada, and a high school student in the Clark County School District. Today I am urging the Assembly Committee of Education to pass AB 212, which would enable college students in Nevada to access their academic transcripts despite any outstanding fees they may have. Currently, students are restricted from accessing their transcripts if they owe $100 or more in fees, which can be a significant barrier to their academic and career opportunities. This issue disproportionately affects low-income students who already are facing financial difficulties. I strongly believe that passing AB 212 will not only benefit students, but also the economy of the state. By giving students equal access and academic opportunities regardless of their financial circumstances, we are enabling them to improve their futures and contribute more efficiently to the economy of Nevada. As a student, I understand the value of education and how it can be transformative into one's life. I urge you to support AB 212 and prioritize the future of Nevada students and the economy of our state. If you truly care and prioritize the future of our students, because this is the future of the state and the country, we need to pass AB 212. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have one more testimony down there, and then, like I said, we are going to go names in support only. If you do have written testimony, we do encourage you to submit that, and we will get it up on Nellis.
Members of the committee, for the record, my name is Rico Ocampo, RICO space OCAMPO. I'm here on behalf of Make the Road Nevada in support of AB 212. With 9 years of experience in the nonprofit sector, including 3 years working at a homeless youth center as an outreach coordinator, I can attest that these transcript fees pose a significant barrier for students experiencing homelessness. Transcript holds add unnecessary obstacles to young people who are already struggling to make ends meet. And without access to official transcripts, these students are unable to transfer between institutions or apply for jobs that require academic transcript submissions. This further exacerbates their financial instability and limits their opportunities for upward mobility. And I'll say this, young people, they don't just want to survive, they want to thrive. They're determined to build a better future for themselves and their communities. However, systemic barriers like transcript holds only serve to stifle their potential and limit their opportunity for success. Let's do right by young people and pass AB 212. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Do you guys understand the assignment? All right.
Yes, hi, my name is Yvette Machado, for the record, MACHADO, and while I have a heartfelt testimony, I will just say I am in support of AB 212. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jacqueline Veloso, JACQUELINE VELOSO. I'm here in support of AB 212. Thank you.
Hi, Chair, and members of the Education Committee. My name is Kevin Osorio Hernandez. For the record, KEVIN OSORIO HERNANDEZ. I am in support of AB 212.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tessa Espinosa, spelled ESPINOSA, and I am in support of Bill AB 212. Thank you.
Hello, I am Miguel Torres, MIGUEL TORES, a current UNLV student in mechanical engineering, and I am in support of AB 212.
Hello, my name is Hugh Lee, HIEULE, and as the K-pop group New Jeans had said it once, ditto.
Hello, my name is Emmanuel Herrera, HERRERA, and I'm here in support of Bill of AB 212. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Lawrence Weekly here, College of Southern Nevada. And I do want to remind you that all these students that are speaking are from the College of Southern Nevada, and we're so honored to be here today. We are in support of AB 212, and we're so proud of our Assemblywoman Mosca. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Bilberry Axelrod, members of the committee. For the record, Matthew Kimball, KIMBALL, University of Nevada, Las Vegas graduate. I'm in support of AB 212 and urge its passage. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dominic Tyco, DOMINIQE, for the record, current ASCSN treasurer, and I'm for support for AB 212. AB 212, yeah. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jasmine De La Torre. That is spelled JASMINEDELTORRE. And I am from the College of Southern Nevada, and I am here in support of AB 212. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the Education Committee. My name is Christian Solomon, for the record, SOLOMON, and I am speaking in support for AB 212. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gennaro Grillo, GENARO GRILLO. I'm a currently UNLV student. I'm here to support this bill. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Emer. I am ER, for the record, and I'm here in support on Bill AB 212.
Hello, Chair and committee members. My name is Amy Koo, AMYKOO, and I'm the Acting Deputy Director with One API in Nevada, here in full support of AB 212. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Velasquez. When support for AB 212. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, Chair and Committee. My name is Jose Rivera. I'm a Proud DACA recipient and El Dorado High School alumni. I support AB 212. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Katia Sotelo Calderon, Kathia. I am the youth organizer at Make the Road Nevada, and I'm here in support of AB 212. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Erica Marquez, ErikaMarquez. I am the Immigration Justice Organizer with Make the Road Nevada, and I'm representing all the undocumented parents and children out there that are in fear of this bill not passing, and I am for AB 212.
Okay. Is there anybody else in Las Vegas who hasn't testified in support? Good job, Assemblywoman. Okay, I think we have a few people on the phone lines, and I hope you are understanding that we have to limit some testimony. So if you want to say your name on the phone and let us know you're in support, I would appreciate that.
Callers, if you would like to testify in support of AB 212, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Hello, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Hector Fong Jr., Hectorfong. I am the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada's Communications Director. I am a CSN alumni. I'm a graduating senior at UNLV, AD 12 constituent, and I'm also here to testify in support of AB 212 on behalf of PLAN. Thank you for your time, and thank you, Assemblywoman Moscow, for this bill.
Thank you. Next caller.
Hello, this is Angelica Villarta. I am in support of AB 212, parent of 3 with one in college and a small business owner.
Thank you for the call. Next caller.
My name is Shannon Ellis, SHANNON. ELLIS. I'm the Vice President of Student Services at the University of Nevada, Reno, and we are in support of AB 212 as it is in the best interest of current and future Nevada students. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Hello, my name is Ricky Zamora. I am calling as myself today in support of AB 212 today as a non-traditional student that has personally been affected by some of these fees. I'm in full support, and thank you for the committee for listening to this bill.
Thank you. And I believe that is all the callers. Is that correct, BPS?
Chair, it appears that there's no more callers choosing to testify in support at this time.
Okay, would you like to
Yeah.
get on the record?
Thank you, Chair. Jonathan Norman, Nevada Coalition of Legal Service Providers. We're in support. Thank you.
Anyone else? No. Okay, yes. I was kind of kidding, but not really.
Amanda Vasco, VASKOV, Associated Students at the University of Nevada. Ditto to everyone.
Peveril Shipley, P-E-V-E-R-E-L, Shipley, S-H-I-P-L-E-Y, for the record. I'm a student at the University of Nevada, and I'm in support of this bill.
Tony Ramirez for the record with Make the Road Nevada. I echo all of the testimony from Make the Road Nevada down south. Thank you.
Hello and good afternoon. My name is Marinez Solis, M-A-R-I-N-E-S-S-S-O-L-I-S, and ditto.
Hello, Juliana Garcia, Julianagarcia, UNR, and ditto.
Hello, Azam Mohammed, O-S-M-A-N-M-A-H-A-M-E-D. No court title, but I do ditto everything that was said today.
Michael Flores, the University of Nevada, Reno, ditto, in support. I've known this young man since he was in elementary school, and to see him testify on this bill is amazing. It's only because Assemblywoman Mosca has brought the east side to the legislative building, and I couldn't be more proud to be part of this bill. And she's been working on this with us since she was an executive director there, and this is a big passion of hers and ours, so we thank you for bringing this forward. We're full support.
Thank you. And with that, we are going to close support because I don't think there's anyone else in the building who hasn't. Wait, no, we still have opposition and neutral. I don't know who those people are going to be, but so with that, we're going to close support. I mean, it was a safe bet for you to come up. I mean, I will tell you. But with that, we will close support and we will go to opposition. Is there anyone in opposition? Here, Las Vegas, phone lines, anywhere, Bueller. BPS, is there anyone on the phone line in opposition?
Callers, if you would like to testify in opposition to AB 212, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chairwoman, there are no callers choosing to testify in opposition at this time.
Thank you. And are there anyone in the room in neutral? I'm assuming you're not, Assemblywoman. Anyone in Las Vegas in neutral? Anyone on the phone lines in neutral?
Callers, if you'd like to testify in neutral for AB 212, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Now I will invite the Assemblywoman back up for any closing remarks, brief closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Very brief. I just want to thank you for giving us the time. I did not do the call to action for everybody, so people came on their own, and we want to thank all the young people that took time to advocate to their government, because we know they can be here because they're taking time to advocate. So thank you.
Thank you, Assemblywoman. And we do very much appreciate democracy in action. And so with that, we will close the hearing on AB 212, and we will open our last hearing on AB 185. This measure revises provisions governing the education of pupils who are children of military personnel. We have Assemblywoman Mosca, she's already in her seat, who is joined by her co-representatives, I believe, on Zoom. All right, please go ahead when ready.
Okay, thank you, Chair Bilbert Axelrod, Vice Chair Taylor, and the most excellent Committee on Education. Oh, I got it here. Okay. Today I will share a summary of the purpose of the why behind this bill when it comes to advanced enrollment. I'll pass it over to my colleague on Zoom, Kelly Mae Douglas, who's the Department of Defense liaison. Who will share national context. I'll then pass it to my colleague Christina Oppert, who is the Military Compact School Liaison for Nellis and Creech Air Force Base. And then we'll finally hear from the Superintendent of Churchill County, which our Assemblyman Koenig represents, Dr. Summer Stevens, who will talk about how she already does advanced enrollments for young people at the Fallon Naval Base. Finally, I'll end with reviewing the bill. So the problem we're trying to solve with this one is currently Nevada is one of the only states that does not allow advanced enrollment in our state. So what does that mean? When a family gets a permanent change of station or a PCS notice, which our veteran committee members, Assemblywoman Thomas and Assemblyman De Silva know all about, means that by law, they must move wherever it says. I'm a proud active duty military spouse. My husband has been stationed in Texas, Alaska, Nevada, Japan, and back to Nevada, while also deploying to Afghanistan and Qatar, all before his 35th birthday. We don't have children, but the large majority of the 1% of our active duty military families in our country do, and this is the number one finding of issues when it comes to their service, which we know we can only be here today because of them. So to solve this problem, we could simply adopt advanced enrollment policies like almost all states, which would help about 5,000 families who PCS to Nevada. It would allow them to enroll in any school in the state using the installation or base address. We're going to hear some examples from our co-presenters today, so I won't take too long talking about that. Finally, I will say on the record that Clark County School District has done a great job in helping young people who go to magnet or career tech schools to make sure that they can continue those while the dependents move. But this actually allows all schools, so all comprehensive high schools, as well as the Public Charter School Authority, who we will hear from some representatives today. So finally, with that, and the last thing I'll just say, this also allows for making reasonable efforts when young people leave our state. So if you are a high school senior, which we'll hear examples, and you have to leave in March, we want to make sure that we can make reasonable efforts, so we don't have to, but we can try to make sure young people can finish if we're able to. And so with that, I will have my presenters share the national context, the local context, and an example, and then I'll go over the bill. With that, I'll kick it over to Kelly Mae Douglas.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Real quick, I had some connection issues. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon again, Madam Chair. My name is Kelly Mae Douglas, and I am the Pacific Southwest Regional Liaison for the Department of Defense within the Defense State Liaison Office. Operating under the direction of the Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness. My office works with state policymakers across the country to address critical issues affecting the quality of life for military families by harmonizing state and federal law and regulation on policy problems of state and national significance. So approximately 185,000 U.S. military children move between schools annually. Military service members are routinely assigned to new duty stations due to mission and training requirements. Service members typically receive their military orders detailing their upcoming assignment 30 days to 6 months prior to their move, and oftentimes in the late summertime. Allowing all military families throughout the state to enroll their children in school, register for classes, and apply for specialized programs at the same time as their peers prior to physically arriving to their location will help to facilitate their uninterrupted educational progress and smooth integration into their new communities and relieve unneeded stress during their transition between locations. As Assemblymember Woman Mosca mentioned, there's approximately 5,000 active duty military school-age children attending school in the state. Approving this measure would ensure that these families transferring to Nevada on military orders are provided with equitable educational opportunities. 38 states have already enacted this policy. Since the first state implemented this policy in 2017, which was California, followed by Arizona, we have found that there's added benefit to schools and districts by reducing the discrepancy between projected and actual student enrollment numbers for military students for staffing purposes. Codifying this process and statute across the state also ensures that schools can plan ahead of time to accommodate military children with specialized educational needs, such as those that are on IEPs or 504 plans. With that, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to provide comments in support of this extremely beneficial policy. At this point, I'd like to yield my time to Ms. Christina Aubert, School Liaison Program Manager for Nellis Air Force Base. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Christina Aubert, and I'm the School Liaison Program Manager for Nellis and Creech Air Force Base. As a school liaison program manager, I serve as the installation subject matter expert to families, installation leadership, and commanders who assist with all local pre-K through grade 12 school issues and the challenges facing military children. One of the services I provide to all active duty families is PCS transition support, and the top educational concern families have identified is the need for advanced enrollment. CCSD makes every effort to accommodate students in magnet programs, but the most encountered issues for families are multiple moves within CCSD zone schools. So in compliance with state and local policies, CCSD requires parents to show proof of residency before a student can enroll in a particular school. So depending on the family situation, this may trigger additional school transitions when a family moves into temporary housing on Nellis while they're waiting for their on-base housing or for their off-base housing to be ready. And that can vary anywhere from a few days, a week, up to 2 months. In CCSD, the student must enroll in the school that serves the temporary address. And then when the family moves into their more permanent housing, the student then enrolls into the new school based off that permanent housing address. Some families choose not to enroll in the temporary school because they're trying to avoid those additional transitions. In addition, an active duty family PCS to Nellis, and they were not able to get lodging on Nellis because it was full, and the family had to stay at a local hotel. The family had been actively looking for a house, and they weren't sure how long they would be in the hotel, so they wanted to get their kids registered. They tried registering their child for the school zone for the hotel, but they were unable to because the family didn't have a permanent address and Infinite Campus would not accept the hotel's address. The family did not meet the definition of homelessness and coverage under the McKinney-Vento Act because they did not lose housing during their PCS move. The family was directed to work with CCSD legal department, and they did receive assistance enrolling their child in the school zone for the hotel. The family indicated, it was a hard transition for their student, and I did provide some additional resources, from my office to help support that child. Given the frequency of relocations experienced by military members and their families, we know that these moves from state to state and school to school undoubtedly increase the stress on military-connected students and their families, more than likely with negative impacts on their academic experience and achievement. But as all parents and teachers know, the consequences go beyond academic, and challenges appear, behavioral problems, social emotional struggles, and reduced social connections. I have personally experienced this as a current military spouse and mother to 2 children who have experienced 6 PCS moves, and as a former educator in a school with a high military population. The intent of AB 185 is not to offer an advantage over other students, but is to allow families the ability to enroll their children in school, register for classes, apply for specialized programs of study, and to begin coordinating IEP and 504 plans, at the same time as their peers and before they arrive in Nevada. When military-connected students know which school they will be attending and their class schedules in advance, they have a sense of comfort, and that can help relieve any unneeded stress during an already stressful PCS. I thank you for your time, and I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Stevens.
Thank you so much, and thanks to the colleagues that have presented already. So good afternoon, Committee Chairwoman Bilberry Axelrod and the other honorable assemblymen and women. And so again, good afternoon. I am Summer Stevens, Superintendent of Churchill County School District in Fallon, Nevada. We're Nevada's first Purple Star School District, and I'm also a proud member of the Nevada Military Interstate Children's Compact Commission. In our district, we have begun using the advanced enrollment concept for our military-connected students, and we've done so in a way that does not add to the plates of schools. We have a little bit different situation than a Clark County where there's multiple schools. It has been a work in progress for sure. Over the past 4 years, we've learned how critical it is to have students connected to school as much as possible. We utilize the online registration portal with Infinite Campus, which allows people to register from afar, including submitting the required immunizations and documents. We found that offering the ability for families to start between the enrollment and when they actually touch down in Fallon provides them with the comfort of knowing their child has a school, has classmates with whom they may connect, and has ongoing learning between the move dates. In terms of entering school before arrival, just this year, we have had several families move to Fallon after being stationed in Japan. In one case, a 3rd grade student had not been in school for 6 weeks by the time they came to register. This is due to them needing to get settled, get the paperwork together, which I will say military families are very on top of, and I appreciate that. In another case with a family that was moving, from Japan. They called early. They got information about the schools, what we offered, and we talked with them about actually starting online if that's what they wanted to do, so they could join the middle school instead of waiting to land. In most instances, students have devices to do this. Some students complete online while others want to be in person. But this process of starting early allows students to make the most of their downtime on the move. And it takes one thing off the plate for families when they do arrive, they have that connection. In terms of staying enrolled when they're moving during the year, we've used in the past the opportunity not only for seniors to finish, but also those students who move in February, March, or April, and they want to continue their learning. And so we've used that with Google Classroom, with their existing classrooms or other distance learning, so that they can complete the year in a coordinated fashion. They can keep their devices. We organize with them to ship them back, ship hotspots back if they need that, or sometimes they do have their own devices. As an educator, I just care so deeply about all kids being given the equity of opportunity and experiences, and this is one way to do that. Moving is difficult for any child, and being a military connected child creates additional challenges and comes with part of being a supporting member of their family. You know, they are new to schools, new to friends. These are things that can be emotionally, socially challenging for all. So having this advanced enrollment opportunity is extremely important. Our district experiences it, as do many others in the state. And so I'm going to now yield to Assemblywoman Mosca to finish out.
And Assemblywoman, I know your intent was to go through the bill, but it's pretty straightforward. And I know we have quite a few, and we're up against revenue as well. So unless there's any issues, but I think we can read the bill. So are there any questions? Was that you? Assemblywoman Torres.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. My question is, would the students have to be, if they weren't attending a magnet school or a public charter school in which they would be in a lottery system, would the students have to attend the zone school to the base when they're registering? And then what would that look like? Because some of those military families might have a destination, like they know that, you know, I'm going to be purchasing this home, and I know that, you know, in 4 months I'm going to be moving there, but I don't have that home yet. Can you explain that process?
Thank you, Assemblywoman. That really shows that you understand this. So that's actually exactly that. So what advanced enrollment, I would actually think of it as open enrollment, but only for military dependents. So if they wanted to enroll in a charter school or to the lottery, as well as to then matriculate, you have to have an address. So all this is trying to say is that they can use the base address, so it doesn't matter where they live.
Quick follow-up then. So if they're registering then for their zone school, what would be their zone school?
Assemblywoman must, for the record, the zone. So there's two things happens. It's a good question. Is that when you come and before you come, you don't have an address, you don't have a zone school. So we're trying to allow the base address to account for that. If it's just they're already in, and this is the intent of the bill, it may not be there, but if they're already here for a year and have a place, they should attend their zone school. It's just more if they're moving.
And I think I understand what you're asking. So I believe this is correct. So say I'm moving to Las Vegas and I decide that I want to live, I'm just going to use where I live, the Pueblo, and I want to go to Richard H. Bryan. That's where I want my kids to go. And I know I'm going to live in there, and because that's where I want my kids to go to school. Could you go to the base, use the base address, but then register for that school? Is that? Part one.
Currently, Assemblywoman Moss, for the record, currently you cannot, but this would allow you to. And I'll defer to any of the colleagues as well on Zoom if they want to answer.
Thank you. And then my follow-up to that would, I apologize, go ahead on Zoom.
Oh, yes, sorry. Kelly May Douglas for the record, Chair, thank you. I was just wanted to clarify, though, that if a military family already has like a lease agreement or a mortgage agreement, that also can be used to register. So if they already have that information, if the base address is just if they don't have, from what I understand, right, Assemblymember Mosca, that, and the way it works in other states is if they have that information, then they can go ahead and use that address as long as there's, they have some sort of ability to verify that they are going to be living there.
I guess we should have gone over the bill line by line.
So
Go ahead.
My quick last follow-up, I think, is just that in the instance that a family intends to move, in the example that the chair asked, intends to move to Pueblo, but ultimately does not find a home there, I just want to make sure that there is something like some stopgap so that there's not, okay, I can use the base address for an extended period of time, and giving essentially access to a zone variance that our other students in other areas would not have access to. I just want to make sure that there's a stopgap so that there has to be like the proof of address upon that when that address is received. And it's hard to set that timeline because in some of these instances, I know that a family might for an extended period of time not have that permanent address yet, but I just want to make sure that there is that stopgap in the bill.
And I don't want to get too far in the weeds on this. We do have another bill coming, not today, thank God, but on an open enrollment. So just don't get too far in the weeds on this, but you can address that. Then Assemblywoman Anderson, of course, has a question.
Yes, I was just going to defer, Assemblywoman Master, for the record, if anyone on the Zoom wanted to answer that. But I wrote it down to make sure that we are working on it.
Hi, Christina Albert for the record. Many other states who have advanced enrollment provide some type of timeline where they need to provide proof of residency after the date on their orders. So, one example may be 45 days after the date on their orders, 30 days. So they do have those stopgaps in place to avoid that change of school assignment that you were referencing.
Thank you, and thank you so much for bringing up that clarity. My question actually has to do with Section 3, and that it has to do with when it starts, which is not until January of 2024. I'm just wondering why it's not starting in July or at the new school year or even upon passage and approval. It's a very small question.
Assemblywoman Mosca, for the record. Thank you, Assemblywoman. I don't know, so I'm going to make sure we can maybe fix that before the work session. Thank you.
Members, we're good? Okay, I will have you sit back and we will open up. I know once again we have a lot of people on the phone. We have a lot of folks here who have waited very patiently. So I appreciate you and many of you, as I can tell from what you're wearing, you have served our nation proud. So thank you for your service.
Madam Chair, for the record, my name is Luana Rich. I'll spell that. It's Luanaritch. Good afternoon, and thank you for this opportunity. I am here today in support of passage of AB 185. I am a proud Air Force brat, a U.S. Army veteran, and the Vice President of the Board of Directors of the David J. Draculich Foundation in Northern Nevada, which provides arts and humanities experiences for veterans and military families. I am a graduate of a Nevada high school, Proctor Hug High School in Washoe County, and I have a doctorate in public policy from the University of Nevada. Passing AB 185 is more than just good public policy. It's one of the easier ways that Nevada can support approximately 2 million military children whose parent or parents serve our nation today. As an Air Force family, we moved 9 times, and I attended 8 different schools in 6 different places between kindergarten and high school graduation. 2 of those moves and several of those schools were in Nevada. And I might note, it's not just where there is a base, but many military kids are in every community, in every county in our state. There are recruiters, there's academic staff. There are many reasons why military kids end up in a Nevada community that may have nothing to do with a major military installation being in that community. So this is a statewide issue. Every move brings a mix of stress and excitement for a military family, including the children. Questions like, will I have music or art this time? Will I be able to continue my advanced science studies? Will my child be able to get the services for his autism at his new school that he received at our last assignment? These are common for every military family. Sometimes these transitions are made more difficult by requirements of school districts that are based on things like mailing addresses, residency, zoning, and deadlines for applications. These common everyday rules can become heartbreaking barriers for military families and military kids, especially when moves happen during the school year. For example, when I transferred to a Nevada school in the 3rd grade, it resulted in not having a music program that included learning to play an instrument that I so enjoyed at my school in Virginia when my father was assigned to the Pentagon. When we came back to Nevada, when I was more than halfway through the 6th grade, I lost math tutoring I was provided at my previous school because it was too late in the school year to apply. My experience is not unique. My siblings all had similar issues. These events happen over and over for military kids and create stress within those families that kids can have lifelong effects in academic success, mental and physical health, and opportunities for future careers. Passing AB 185 can help make this situation easier, and it's the least we can do for children who also sacrifice for our country. Thank you, and I'd be pleased to address any questions you may have for me.
Please go ahead when ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Mary Przenski, representing Nevada Association of School Superintendents. All 17 superintendents are involved in NAS, and we appreciate our military families, and we support the bill. Thank you.
Madam Chair and committee members, for the record, my name is Andrew Lee Pilbit, and I am the chair of the United Veterans Legislative Council in Nevada, representing the 279,000 veterans in our state. We are also supporters of our National Guard and our active military. And having gone through many transfers myself in the military, it is devastating on our children at times to adjust to a new group of people, the social changes and impacts to the individuals. And as you've just heard, I ditto my colleague beside me. It is the story and the difficulty, and this is a small thing we can do to help these military children adjust once they come to our state. Thank you.
Thank you. And when you're done, absolutely. And if there's other people who want to testify, please fill. And I do see you, sir, in Las Vegas. We have a few people who are going to testify here, and we'll head to you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and the most excellent Committee on Education. For the record, I'm Cindy Rivera, CINDI RIVERA, founding member and Associate Executive Director of Futuro Academy in East Las Vegas. I'm here today in support of AB 185 because it will provide a streamlined enrollment process for our military-dependent students. Our military families and their dependents should not have to go through barriers of school enrollment due to documented pending military transfer of a parent or a guardian. I can assure you that school registrars and families throughout Nevada will breathe a sigh of relief knowing that they are going to be able to immediately register their students into classes so that they can gain their educational access and not lose instruction. Again, I definitely want to assure you that very much like McKinney-Vento works, at Futuro Academy, we do have a certain time frame with regards to when our military families do attempt to enroll with regard to then showing their permanent address once that those orders are given to them as well. So thank you very much for your consideration, and I look forward to following this bill as it moves along.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Ricky Gurrier. I am here on behalf of Academica Nevada, and for the sake of time, I'll say ditto.
Good afternoon, Chair Bilberry, Axelrod, members of the committee. For the record, I'm Nick Schneider, policy analyst for the Vegas Chamber. The Chamber is in support of AB 185 as it serves to provide a level of stability and consistency for children, military personnel. And on that note, I'll say ditto to everything that was said before. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll head to Las Vegas now.
Thank you. My name is Chris, K-R-I-S, Schneider, S-C-H-N-E-I-D-E-R, no relation to the previous speaker. But I am here in Las Vegas. I represent Mountain View Lutheran School here in Las Vegas, the first of now only 2 private schools that have been recognized by the state as a Purple Star school. And it's made me very happy to see many people wearing purple there. I don't have a lot of purple, so nice to see the speakers there wearing purple. The reason I bring this up is that I want to thank you, Chairwoman Bilberry Axelrod, and all the members of the committee for this opportunity to speak in favor of AB 185, because Purple Star Schools is a designation that has been worked at and worked with, especially Kelly Lynn Charles and the State Department of Education, that recognizes our schools who are very military friendly and doing what they can to help children transition as they are coming into our schools. Assembly Bill 185 helps to add to the compact that we already have to make this a more streamlined process. Our Purple Star schools are doing a great job already of assimilating school families, these military families into our school families, and this just lessens the difficulty in the whole process by allowing distance learning, maybe even early, as we see in Churchill County, as well as really addressing a population that gets severely underserved no matter where you are, and that's with respect to special education. So again, I speak in favor of AB 185, and I look forward to it being passed. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else in Vegas? I don't think so. Okay, we are going to go to the phone lines. I believe we have 6 people on the phone. I am just looking at the clock, and we are coming up to our next committee. So well, we appreciate your testimony. If you could keep it brief, maybe just say your name and you support the bill, we'll go to the phone lines.
Callers, if you would like to testify in support of AB 185, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Coming up to our next committee. So we
Caller, please go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Sandra Kinney, for the record, K-I-N-N-E. I am a school leader in Clark County, and I am a former military dependent. I was an Army brat until I was 14 and attended 6 different schools. I wholeheartedly support this bill, and I think it's overdue for Nevada to support our military dependents with their education. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Caller, please press star 6 to unmute your microphone.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Great. Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Amanda Stein, A-M-A-N-D-A-S-T-E-I-N. I am the parent of 3 children within CCSC. We relocated to Nellis Air Force Base this past December. During that time, my high schooler was out of school from about November 27th until after the Christmas break, January 3. So the entire month of December out of school. Winter moves are actually very common within the military. And you may not know that in many other states, Christmas break is not the firm end of semester 1. So when we moved here, we moved in the middle of our semester 1. However, when we arrived, you all were getting ready to take your Christmas break. Because of this, my high schooler almost lost 6 full credits of school when we went to enroll her. With the housing shortage, especially in the Las Vegas area, we did not know where we would live, and you cannot register for school without having some type of proof of address. So after over a month of not being in school, we were greatly accommodated by Legacy High School, but all of it really could have been avoided had we been able to use the base. address. So I fully support AB 185. Thank you.
Thank you for your call. BPS, other callers?
Good afternoon, Chair Bilberry Axelrod, Vice Chair Taylor, and committee members. For the record, my name is Bob DeRoos, Executive Director of ACE High School, as well as a father of a son serving in the U.S. Army. I'd like to say ACE High School supports AB 185, and for the sake of time, ditto. Thank you.
Thank you. BPS, next caller.
Hello, my name is Gil Lopez with the Charter School Association of Nevada. We're here in support of AB 185. Want to thank the sponsor and ditto. We are in full support. Thank you.
Thank you. BPS, next caller.
All right, I believe it's my turn. Can you hear me?
We can.
Right. My name is David Blodgett. I'm a charter school leader in Las Vegas at a school that has many military families, including on our staff, and I am in support. Thank you.
Thank you. BPS, are there any more callers in support?
Chair, there are no more callers choosing to testify in support at this time.
Thank you. And with that, we will close support testimony and open for opposition. Is there anyone in the room in opposition? Anyone in Las Vegas in opposition? BPS, anyone on the phone in opposition?
Hello, for the record, this is Angelica Villarta, Villarta, and I was trying to unmute for in support of. My apologies. So I am speaking as an advocate for mental health awareness focused on suicide prevention. I'd like to acknowledge the social and emotional support regarding our military youth, understanding that children from military families already have to deal with a lot of hardships of trying to find their place in society. They're under that stress of trying to make friends and relocating. And I believe that having the ability to choose a path in education that supports their interests will ease some of that additional stress. Also, being of Asian and Pacific Islander descent, I'm aware that we also have military families that are being stationed to Nevada that already have extended families or members of friends within the state. And if these young students also can attend school with people that they already have relationships with, it'll just help them to adjust and thrive. And so I am in full support of AB 185. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. We will make sure that it goes into support. Any other callers in opposition?
Chairwoman, there are no other callers choosing to testify in opposition at this time.
Okay, we know Assemblyman Mosca just brings the support out. All right, we will close testimony in opposition and open it to neutral. Is there anyone in the room who wanted to see someone approaching? While we're at it, I'm just going to say if there's anyone in Las Vegas who wanted to testify in neutral. I'm not seeing anyone. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Vivian Ruiz, with Deputy Director of Healthcare Services with Nevada Department of Veteran Services, testifying in the neutral regarding AB 185. The Nevada Veterans Legislative Symposia held in March of 2022 identified 47 issues important to the veterans community. The bill addressed in AB 185 was prioritized as number 19 by attendees of those symposia. Thank you.
Say that soft neutral and almost support. Just, we don't want to ruin our record. Thank you for your testimony. Okay, with that, I will close the testimony. I know BPS, sorry. Do we have anyone on the phone line in neutral?
No worries, Chair. There's no callers at this time.
Thank you. We will close testimony. If you want to, I know you have to get to revenue as well, so if you want to, okay.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to thank everybody on the record. I had met with the superintendents, the leadership at Nellis, at the National Guard, and I just wanted to thank everybody who supported and are in support, so thank you.
Thank you very much for your bills today. Erica Moscow. Okay, with that, we will go to our last item, which is public comment. We will hear items of public comment. We do limit testimony to 2 minutes, and it is based on the items that are in the purview of this committee. Is there anyone in the room wanting to make public comment? Anyone in Las Vegas wanting to make public comment? BPS, is there anyone on the phone wanting to make public comment?
Callers, if you would like to provide public comment at this time, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, there's no callers wishing to provide public comment at this time.
Thank you, BPS. Well, with that, we are done with our marathon day. Thank you, the committee. Our next meeting will be Thursday, March 16th, excuse me, at 1:30. We are adjourned.